Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. My name's Amanda Hall, psychic all the way from the Gold Coast in Australia. And I'm so thrilled that you could join us tonight here on our fourth show, so time is flying by. I aim to sort of each week bring a little bit of astrology and a little bit of tarot into your life, just so that we can all sort of share this amazing journey together and become a little bit more informed about this amazing world that we live in, and particularly my world, the psychic world. So to start the show off, I'd like to wish everybody a very, very happy Easter wherever you are around this amazing globe of ours. And I know there's lots of amazing people that are tuning in week after week, and some of you have just tripped across me for the first time this week, so welcome. But there's a couple of extra special ladies I'd like to just give a little wave to in Australia. You both know who you are, that have been following my journey for many, many years. So to kick the show off tonight, I thought we'd start with our card of the week. Now, the card of the week this week is the High Priestess, and the High Priestess is the highest tarot card in the deck. She is very powerful. She takes on a mutual sort of energy. She can either be very good or very bad. She also shares with us that there's some secrets yet to be revealed. The Simply Tarot card is a card that I designed about 12 years ago, taken from the Rider-Waite deck. These are purpose-shot photographs, and if you want to know more about them, join me on my Amanda Hall Psychic Facebook page for more information. And this week we're also going to talk about the full moon in Libra. It's a really, really interesting full moon. For our darling friends that are in the Northern Hemisphere, this is your first full moon to celebrate your springtime. For us here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's our first full moon to celebrate our autumn, or some people call it fall. So either way, it's a very important full moon, as it's the first one in the astrological new year. So with it being in Libra, it's asking us to be ready to release and let go of anything, and I mean anything, that no longer serves us for our highest good, or anything that we no longer need in our lives. And for some people that will be old emotions that have slowly just come to the surface, and they're sort of starting to eat away at you or annoy you in the last couple of days. Well, it's asking you to look at these, visit them, own them, work through them, and then release them. For other people, they may find that they're feeling a little bit tired, a little bit of a headache. They may be feeling just generally not themselves. So I just ask you to just allow yourself to work through this full moon energy. It can sometimes be a little bit difficult to understand why we're feeling a bit titchy with ourselves, and why do we not want to sort of understand why the emotions are coming to the surface. We are human. We're here to do a human journey. Whether you believe in karma or not, I personally do, and I do believe that we come here to learn lessons. And the lessons that we come to learn play out in our day-to-day lives as we walk through our journey of being human. It doesn't make anybody any better person than the next just because you might have more money, or you might have better looks, or a better figure, or a better paying job. It doesn't make you superior to anyone else. So I think that that's what this full moon is asking us to look at, is to bring it into balance. Libra is about balancing scales. So it's asking us to bring everything into an equilibrium, to balance things out, and to be kind to ourselves, and to look at what no longer serves us in our life. It may be the perfect time to go through your closet and throw out a few clothes that you don't need and give them to a charity shop to help someone else. It may be the perfect time to just have a little bit of quiet time before the hustle and bustle of the Easter break and all our family traditions and things that are important to us, and we all celebrate Easter in a very different way. So it's a time of a little bit of reflection, understanding who we are, and releasing what no longer serves us. On the positive side, it's a really, really good time to start looking at what we want to bring into our lives. So it's a time to start making that list. Now, the other thing that we quickly need to talk about this evening on the show is Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, which goes retrograde approximately 3 times a year for about 3 weeks at a time. Now, Mercury is currently retrograde at the moment. And Mercury is asking us to slow down. It's asking us to double check, to recheck all of the things that are on a communication level, whether it be an email we're going to send, a telephone call we're going to make, whether we're going to send a parcel or we're going into a meeting. We need to make sure that the other person clearly understands the message we are trying to convey. And double check that they understand, because sometimes people don't have their listening ears on in a Mercury retrograde. They're preoccupied with other things that may be more important, or things that are taking their attention away from the task at hand. So please make allowances for this until the 9th of May. Now, the Mercury retrograde is always a tricky one. If you're going to be travelling over this Easter break, make sure you get to the place of, travel, the airport or the bus depot early, because sometimes there'll be some mix-ups with luggage, ticketing won't work, computers go down. Anything that's connected with communication and technology, we have to be a little bit more aware of at this time. For some people, it makes them quite absent-minded, that they forget things like their keys, their phone, their wallet. So just double check, do a little safety check that you've got everything. If you're travelling, you've got the required things that you need, whether it's your passport, your tickets, your money, your credit cards, your keys, and that you've locked the door on the house and on the way out. So it's really a time of slowing down, allowing our thoughts to just chill, but it's also a time of maybe, again, revisiting some of the projects that we had on for this year that we might have started at the beginning of the year. Go back and revisit them and make sure that we're still on track. Are they still appropriate? Is it time now for us to be looking at maybe modifying or removing some of those things that we now think, gee, that's not quite as important as this next thing on my list? So it's a time then of really, if you're going to be spending time over the Easter break with family and loved ones, be very, very careful. It's not the time to bring up old grievances. If there's been a family issue, this is not the break to bring it up and have that discussion with Uncle Henry because he's annoyed you for the last 10 years. I'd leave that for another time, because things will get out of hand and we will see arguments erupt very quickly because people misunderstand what you're trying to communicate. So this is not the time to bring up those sensitive issues. I want to try and encourage you to keep your Easter break lighthearted, happy and positive, and enjoy the people that you are with. That's really, I think, the message for this Easter. The full moon will only be with us approximately another 24 hours, wherever you are on this beautiful globe of ours, but then allow another 24 hours for the energy to start to wind down. But Mercury, unfortunately, is just starting to rev up into high gear. He's only been retrograde for a couple of days now, but he's starting to really hit his straps now. So unfortunately for all of us, over Easter, Mercury's going to be in high flight, where he's really going to be sort of activating his retrograde motion, and this is when people really will be preoccupied, not focusing, not listening with their listening ears. So just keep the communication very lighthearted. And as I said, it's not time to bring up the family skeletons or the things that we feel that might need to be addressed. Please leave that to another family celebration. So we're going to kick along with the show now, and we're going to take a call from Dave in Pennsylvania in the US of A. Hello, Dave. How can I help you tonight?
Hello, Amanda. How are you this evening?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay. I just want to get in touch with some loved ones, if that's possible.
You want to get some which, Dave? I didn't quite hear that.
I said I'd like to see, I'd like to connect with some loved ones, if possible.
Dave, I can't guarantee that. When I work with loved ones, what I usually say to people is give me a direct question. If they want to come through and contribute and add to it, they will. But I don't necessarily have a direct dial to whoever you might want to connect with on the other side. So do you have a particular question you'd like me to focus on, or a particular area of your life that's sort of causing a little concern?
Are things going to get better in my life?
Okay. Dave, the first thing that I'm picking up is that I feel you have been at an impasse in your life. There's been a number of endings, changes and transformations, which I would like to take back to last September as when things really revved up in your life in that way. I feel now that we've only got a little bit more waiting time and we're slowly going to start to see the wheels turn in the other way, where things are going to start to become positive. In the last couple of months, Dave, have you had some very, very strong dreams of a night where things haven't made sense to you in the dreams, that sort of like you can't get an answer out of them? Has that happened 2 or 3 times to you?
Absolutely, yes. I've had some strange dreams, yes.
That's coming directly from spirit. So what I want you to do with those dreams as best as you can is write down the information, even if it's in headline form, of what you can remember of the dream, how you felt, and put it away. Because I think there's some hidden messages in there. I've got 3 people around you in spirit. 2 of them I think are male and one's a female. Nobody's really sort of come forward and giving me anything that I can grab hold of and say, you know, this is your aunt, or this was your mother, or this was your father. It's just sort of like there's 3 people there, and they seem to be the ones that are trying to get a message through to you. But I don't know that I certainly know they haven't been clear with what they've been trying to share with you, but I'm not sure that everything yet has been formulated, if I can put it that way. Your future hasn't been set in stone. I think there's some changes going on the other side, where they're sort of having a major discussion amongst themselves at what's next for you and what area they think needs the most attention. The first thing that I am being shown, Dave, is I feel that there will be a change of job. So have you been looking to or thinking about making some changes with your work, or the potential of looking for a new position?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping to get better in my job, and help better myself in my job. But I really haven't really been. I mean, I've thought about looking for other jobs, but I'm at a stage right now that they're not going to take anybody my age. I mean, walk with canes and arthritis in my knees and stuff like that. But I've been thinking about it, but I would just like to, if I can, like to better myself at the job that I'm at now. So.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you, Dave, because what they were showing me, from particularly the female from the other side, was there's an opportunity or an opening coming that you're not expecting as far as a job situation. Now, that could very well be within the current role that you've got, that they're going to come in and sort of offer you a better paying position or a promotion that you think, wow, I didn't expect that. Or it could be a completely different random offer coming from, the most unlikely source. But I know that it's something that you weren't expecting. I mean, you're thrilled about it. They're showing me this as being as early as May, so that's only a few weeks away. So I think you really need to be aware. Look, I feel the current position you're in, I think that they are very happy with what you've been doing. You've showed them some consistent work ethics, and they're very impressed by that, you don't falter, you don't lose your temper when things get tough. You sort of, you're able to be very reliable, and, you're consistent. And that's something that I think the company's been aiming to sort of model the whole of their working staff on, is to get everybody on this even keel. So you're actually doing an amazing job there. So I wouldn't be too disappointed with anything there. I think they're really thrilled with you. The other thing that was showing me was, have you made some changes in your lifestyle in the last 6 to 12 months?
Not really. I've gotten a little more positive other than that, but no, I haven't really made any kind of changes.
Okay. They're showing me that they showed it to me as if you'd made some sort of changes, because they were saying to me that, your whole body is feeling a lot more flexible, as if you've released a lot of things. That could just be on an emotional level, that you've released things that were holding you back, that things that used to upset you once upon a time don't anymore. But they're showing me stay and do whatever you've been doing, it's working. So they seem to be really impressed. Is there someone... Is there somebody at the moment in the family, a female? I've got somebody here that's quite ill. They keep showing me concern about an older female.
An older female?
Yes.
I mean, maybe my mother-in-law. I mean, I have my mother-in-law living with me.
Okay. has she not been well recently? It's sort of like they keep showing me her colour's not good.
Yeah, I mean, she's had some pain, you know. She's had some pain, and yeah, she's sometimes she gets under the weather, yeah.
Yeah. They didn't show me anything more than that. They just were acknowledging the fact that she's been unwell and they were concerned about her. I mean, obviously you and your wife have been concerned about her too. So I think it's just more just sort of showing you that, you know, yes, they can see what's going on in your day-to-day life.
Okay.
I also sort of feel from June this year, it's like everything sort of revs up a notch or two. Things are starting to unfold in a much more positive way. Your life is starting to improve. And again, I come that releasing of that, what seemed to be a very heavy burden of emotion that you seem to carry around for a long time. And they keep saying to me more and more and more of that is disappearing. And as that disappears, it's being replaced by more and more positive outlook and you feeling freer and more in control of your life than what you've done in a long time. I do feel that there will be an improvement in finances this year, but I think it's more coming in because there's going to be extra money offered with the extra responsibility with the job. And it's like, good, it's not something that's already got someone else's name on it. You and your wife can sit down and decide what to do with this extra income, and it might be time to spend it on yourselves.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I have been letting a lot of things go, and I've been trying to be a lot more positive and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely have been doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's really quick. They're really thrilled. The three that came through from the other side are really, really happy with the progress that you're making. And they just, you know, they just kept saying to me, just keep doing what you're doing. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of positivity there. But your life is starting to rev up again in a more positive way. You know, all the hard lessons are now seem to be behind you and your wife. It's sort of like that slipping away, and it's being replaced by this beautiful feeling of peace and tranquility. And being able to just sort of focus on yourselves for a change instead of giving all your time and all your resources to everyone else. It's now time to just give each other, which is nice. It's a nice spot to be in.
Okay. Yeah. I've done that all my life. I've always thought about everybody else instead of myself. But yeah, I have been thinking about myself and my family now. Absolutely. I have been doing that.
I want you to do that. Like you've repaid your karmic debt of looking after everyone else. It's now time to look after your immediate family, you, your wife, and your own children. You know, it's bring it back now, and that's not being selfish. That's looking after your responsibilities now, no one else's.
Right.
And that's really important. Okay. Wonderful Easter, and I know things are definitely on the improve for you, Dave.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Lovely.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amanda. I appreciate you calling me back and helping me out with that. It really satisfied me a lot.
You're very, very welcome, Dave. Have a happy Easter.
Yeah, you too, Amanda. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Now we're going to go on to Jody in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Jody. Are you with us? We've lost Jody for the minute, so I'll just keep talking about the full moon. So please just be aware, allow the full moon to come and go like the tides, you know, lapping the shore of the ocean, and just let things go. Don't hold on to things. I think speaking with Dave just then was a really powerful message for all of us, that I think it's time now that we start to focus and look after our own family, particularly over this Easter holidays. You know, bring the focus back to us and allow us to sort of enjoy this time together, this wonderful family time. Jody, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Hi.
Hi, Jody. How can I help you tonight? Do you have a question I can help you with?
I don't know. I'm just, anything you could tell me, you know.
Okay.
I've never...
If you've got a question so I can hone in on that. The first thing I picked up around you, Jody, was a series of question marks. So I feel that you're questioning a lot of things in your life at the moment and you're unsure of what's the next step.
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. They're showing it's okay not to know. It's okay to not have the next mountain to climb just yet. It's okay to just sort of sit there and say, I don't know. Sometimes we have to allow ourselves that luxury of not being all revved up and geared up to climb the next mountain, that we can just sort of take a little bit of time and say, well, I'm just enjoying being. You know, I don't have to be anywhere in any particular way or do anything in particular. I can just enjoy where I am at the moment. And I think it's going to be short-lived, though, because, I mean, I feel by the end of May, early June, you're going to be back into high gear and sort of all revved up to sort of climb the next Mount Everest in your life. But I feel what you're finding in this period of sitting there and just being and sort of not racing off here, there and everywhere, you're going to find some answers to questions that I don't even think you knew were questions in your mind. Because you're such a high active person, you never really allow yourself the time to sit still and just let everything catch up with you. Well, things will come into your mind and you'll think, oh, yeah, that's the answer to that. But you weren't necessarily even seeking an answer, but it's like it's going to come in, be sorted out and then let go of. So has there just been a disappointment or somebody that let you down emotionally?
Yes, a lot of loss. Yeah. I've been, you know, you're hitting everything right on the head.
Yeah, and it's just, I want to say you're not wrong. It's like they've tried to push the blame back onto you. But
right.
Jody, I want to say they need to take responsibility for what they did too. And it's like I've got this real tickle in my throat, pardon me, and it's like they were trying to choke your communication. It was like, I don't know what they were trying to do, but what was being, you know, with the physical thing that I was picking up, it was like they were trying to choke you. They were trying to prevent you from speaking up or being yourself or something.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So
I understand, yeah.
You understand that? So what I'm going to ask you to do now is I'm not asking you to forgive this person because I don't believe forgiving them is the answer. I don't think they should get off that easily, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, they've got to own what they did and what they were attempting to do. It's not the time to make an excuse and say, oh, well, they were in a bad place, I'll forgive them. No, they knew exactly what they were doing and what they were trying to do in your, you know, to disrupt your life. So all that we have to do is acknowledge that what they were responsible for and acknowledge the part that you were responsible for and then say, I'm drawing a line under it and I put it away.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, definitely.
There's times in our life, I think, we need to forgive someone, and there's times when we don't. And this is one of those times when we don't.
Okay. Wow, yeah, you hit everything on the head tonight for me, so I'm quite amazed. It's my first reading ever.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so, you know what? Thank you very much. Yeah.
All I want you to do, Jody, is keep positive and know that things are going to start to become easier by the time we get to the end of May, early June. You'll have some clear-cut direction at where you need to be going. There seems to be new opportunities unfolding for you. I'm not sure that they're necessarily new job opportunities, but I see new opportunities around your work unfolding around June, July, August. And it's like you don't have to say yes to everything. I want you to, if something's offered to you, say, great, give me all the details, and then I need 24 hours to think about it, and then come back with your answer, particularly if it's a major thing. Don't just say yes and think, oh, gee, I wish I hadn't said that later on. I want you to be very clear on what you want and what you don't want. Also, I think you need to make sure that from here on in that you take at least 5 minutes a day for you. Now, whether you want to meditate, you want to listen to some music, go and sit in the garden, sit somewhere and think of nothing and just have a cup of coffee, that's all I'm asking you to do, because in that still time, I feel you'll get a number of downloads of sort of like ideas and thoughts coming into your mind. And this is going to be the start of you listening to your own intuition more. It's the real beginning point of that. You've always had it, but you've never really acknowledged it. So I want you to start acknowledging it and start working with it. You don't have to physically get up out of the chair and go and do what you just had came into your mind, but you just need to be aware of it and say, okay, I acknowledge that, I feel that there's going to be, say a move of residence in 6 months. Well, okay, I'll write that down in a little notebook and I'll put it away. I don't necessarily have to physically get up and move today. I'm just aware of the things that are being shown to me. And that's good, because you do have a lot of natural, that you've been sort of toying with, but you didn't know how to do it.
Pardon me?
So that's how you harness that, Jody, and make it work for you.
Yes. I'm just utterly shocked. You hit so many things so right.
Well, that's wonderful, Jody. Well, you have a very happy Easter, and make sure that you just be kind to yourself over these, next week or so, and just chill. And, go back and watch the show again, and you'll probably take a little bit more out of the reading each time you watch it, because after being your first experience, you didn't know what to expect. But I know that you're on the right path, and that's the most important thing, Jody, knowing that you're on the right path. And unfortunately, we're coming to the end of another show. We have only 60 seconds to go, so I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for tuning in. You can head to my Facebook page, Amanda Hall Psychic, and there you will find more about the card of the week and I'll put a little post up there about the full moon and Mercury retrograde. And I look forward to working with everybody again next week. Don't eat too much chocolate. It's not too good for the waistline, but hey, it's Easter. We all have to have a little treat. And we need to be able to treat ourselves without any guilt. So I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and friends, and be kind to each other. That's the most important thing we can do over this wonderful time of the year. So next week we'll be back into our astrology series of the sun signs. So tune in next week we work with the next 3 signs, which will be Cancer, Leo and Virgo. So have a great week, everyone.